Hey, welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. This morning we're going to talk just a little bit about cash. Money. Dirty, filthy, horrible dollar bills that other people have touched. Well, unfortunately, you won't get a healthy fecal matter transplant from your dollar bills. Nor will you get the evil ronavirus. Are you scared of the ronavirus? Okay. For various reasons, everybody who has an authoritarian bent has jumped on the ronavirus as a means to push their authoritarian crap. Really don't understand what's going on here. I don't think that we're dealing with a conspiracy, but we're dealing with something that we're dealing with opportunism by what you would consider conspiracies. It's a little bizarre. So, cashless, all right? Cashless is a big deal right now. They want to go without cash. There's a change shortage, which I think is partially manufactured. Partially this is on purpose. Let's talk about what cashless means. There's a couple things that you got to think about, little things like, hey, guess what? No more piggy banks. No more saving change for a rainy day. No more backup little cash flow. And these things actually matter, okay? These people use these things and it matters. It's that change bucket that ends up with $500 in it. That can be a life changer if you have the discipline to just keep putting into the bucket and not take it out unless you need it. Into the redlining thing, this is probably the easiest way to get yourself able to handle a basic emergency is to have change buckets. Just throw your change in. Because very few people, especially in the United States, very few people, very, very few, vanishingly few, are actually so physically poor that they can't ignore their change going into a coffee can or a 5-gallon water bottle. There's a lot of mismanagement and a lot of issues surrounding that, but I'm just going to say it flat out. I have been homeless poor and everything in between, and yeah, you can save your change. But you can't put your change in a bucket. Your kid cannot put money in a piggy bank. There's no more birthday cards. There's no more holiday money like grandparents to grandchildren, that kind of thing, right? There's no more yard work. All right, no cash means no more possibility for a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old to go help out with a neighbor's flower garden for a $20 bill. That doesn't exist, okay? Cashless society means every single thing is tracked. Because I don't think when they talk about cashless that they're actually talking about anonymous electronic funds transfers, because that's not a thing. That's not what they want, and that's very difficult to actually do, especially if you can't make that go into cash at some point. Some point in time, you have to transfer that into how you spend money. And you can have an entire black market economy around Venmo, but it's going to be very limited and it's going to be traceable. Anyway, back to it. This is stuff I've gotten in comments on posts on social media. So, they talk about not being able to go gather eggs for the neighbor. It's more likely that you're going to be helping with a garden flower bed, but I live in a rural area where cleaning up the edge of the hayfield is actually a thing. Cleaning up branches after a storm. There's a lot of casual labor that you could do it's important to teach people, children, that there is that you can work and get money. The actual, especially at younger ages, the actual physical contact. I did this, I got this, that matters. Now, in a way, it's programming. It's an indoctrination, into a value system, but you're not getting rid of money. You're just getting rid of cash. So you're changing how you're indoctrinating, programming that value system, but you're not getting rid of it, okay? And yeah, no more cash for a rainy day is one of the comments. It's the change bucket again. But it's also things like carry a couple $100 in cash if you can, or $20, whatever it is. Carry some amount of cash on you at all times, because sometimes stuff goes down. We've had that happen in the past 2 weeks. We had a day where everything was down in this entire valley. All the internet was down. No one could run a credit card or a debit transaction. Stores closed, everything, except some places you could do some cash. And what if that goes on for 2 days? What if you actually need something, Having that $20 bill, or those 8 $20 bills, or 30 $20 bills, that's a big deal. Having some cash, some ability to adapt, can be important. Now, in a broader sense, like prepping, life-changing emergency events, having a store of cash is even more important, but I'm not going to get you into actual disaster, emergency, have to get out of town type of stuff. So let's think about the really bad stuff, okay? Like, we've gotten rid of the idea of gifts, cash gifts, casual pay, under the table labor, okay? Or if we have under the table labor, we've actually reduced that to pre-mercantile levels. Like, you're going to literally get paid in food and not money. And I don't think that's a step up for people below the poverty line to not have access to money. I really don't think that's a step up. That's not... Authoritarians are gonna authority, but man, they're dumb sometimes. Alright. This is all for social justice, I'm sure. So, banks have full control over every single penny that you have. And the banks are going to work with the governments. But think about that. Every penny, every bit of value that you have in a society that uses that value to access livingry, biosurvival. These are called biosurvival tickets by some people. Everything that you have tied to your survival is controlled by a bank. That's a cashless society. Is this really what you want? Every transaction you make is recorded and searchable. There is no privacy. No privacy. And you say, oh, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't care. Are you in favor of or against federal officers rounding up people on the streets in cities that are having protests right now? I'm trying to make this into permanent content, but that's a current event thing as I'm filming this. There's a lot of people arguing about overreach of federal police powers, and okay, all your movements and actions are traceable, and it doesn't matter if you're not doing anything wrong. Do you really trust the federal government that much? Do you trust any government that much? Because that seems to depend on where the outrage is today. So, access to your money can be blocked at the click of a button when or if a bank needs clarification from you over who you are or what you're trying to do or why you're spending that money. And that could take 3 weeks, 6 months, depends on the laws, but it's not going to be 5 minutes. China has a social credit system right now. China is a dictatorship. China puts people in prison camps. China has concentration camps. They have train cars. They push populations. China's not a good example. China has a social credit system where you can be blocked from access to do things like buy food, go travel, whatever, if your social credit score is low. I want you to imagine a cashless society and think this one through. Just a short chain, like 3 steps. Oops, you're unpopular, you don't get to eat. Whoa! No! Okay? Everything you do is taxed. And I don't know how you feel about that. Here they come. Our tax system is predicated must be flying Tom Cruise again. They're flying low. Taxes are one of those things that sometimes some people consider a necessary evil. Some people consider it theft, no matter what. Whatever. Okay, there's arguments about that. But if everything is recorded, then everything will be taxed, and the tax rate doesn't go down because of that. It goes up because they find more things they can tax. You know, you can't... You're going to have to pay taxes if a kid mows your lawn. He's going to have to pay taxes. There's going to be 3 or 4 levels of taxation. It's just... This is not a good idea. Especially if you care about the red lines and the lower class issues, because there's always going to be fringes on society. Now here's the biggest thing. The government decides what you can and cannot purchase, and there's no way around it. The government will decide what you can do with your money. Oh, there's ways around it. We know there's ways. There's always going to be a black market, but you've got no cash. So what are you going to do? Sell your body? If you want something the government didn't allow you to have? Well, yeah, actually. So there's a side effect that's going to be really fun. Human trafficking as a black market. These things happen. They're provable, they're demonstrable. You can see them in history when certain things are restricted. It's not... Cashless society is a bad idea. Okay? There's just no way around it. That level of tracking. And we're not talking about bureaucrats looking at forms saying, oh, did he buy this? Oh, this is all on a computer, in a database, instantly accessible, instantly hackable, instantly traceable, for everyone, all the time. Which means that governments which run by media outrage, governments which run by media outrage, which is pretty much everything right now, can destroy your life on a whim because someone in some other city went viral with a protest complaint. Anyway, the point being, the data mining is instant, okay? It's not someday in 6 years some reviewer will say, oh, we didn't like that you did that. It's instant. It's instantaneous enough that they can say, no, we don't like your profile, so we're not going to let you complete this transaction. In the store, in line. No. Pass. Sorry. Everything about cashless is bad. Don't go there. Stay sideways.